My name is Chris Mitchell. I'm CEO and founder of Aud Analytic. Aud Analytic is a software company that makes a new type of sound recognition system capable of detecting anything from people getting aggressive through to gunshots going off or glass being broken. We primarily sell that into the physical security industry, so to modern CCTV camera manufacturers, intercom manufacturers, or the sort of video recorders they attach to. Good question. So I did a PhD in a wonderfully woolly academic subject called music genre recognition. So this is training computers to recognise the underlying components of music.
Okay.
So the end outcome to some extent is a bit like Shazam type technologies, but we approached it from a completely different angle. So things like Shazam can only identify the sound they've heard before, the song they've heard before. We were trying to get to giving the computer a true understanding of what jazz is or classical is or sort of that type of thing, so it could then classify music into genre without having heard that piece before.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
So that then formed the basis of the technology that ended up getting me used. I received a fellowship to go off to the US following my PhD. That was through the Kaufman Foundation and funded by then the beginnings of what was NCGE. And then we went off and learned a whole bunch of things in the US. And then identified the opportunity to use Aud Analytics for security cameras and returned to the UK to set up the company. So first of all, it was I was funding it through consultancy that I was doing on the side. Then we got a couple of first of all a single seed stage investment from a local investor, angel, and then bought on another angel ahead of the larger angel round, and then about 18 months ago did a proper larger angel round where sort of a collection of angels were then involved to get the company a larger amount of funding to get it to the point. Well, Cambridge is quite a small city on the whole. Everybody bumps into everybody else quite readily. So once you understand the sort of normal events you need to go to, you can start sort of chatting to people and building up relationships with them, and then sort of figuring out how to get investment from that. Although one of the things that did help that locally is we went on the Ignite course, which is run by the Judge Business School. You'll probably find a lot of the companies have been through that process. That's sort of a networking hub, if you will. It's run once a year, has a whole range of local investors from all different sides of the community, as well as entrepreneurs, that helps pull things together. It's a very sort of eclectic mix of you've got everybody from in terms of the companies around here, you've got Arm, Autonomy, some of the better known ones. So there's a whole heap of very skilled individuals who've often either spun university out of the labs or built up their own companies up in the Cambridge Science Park. So very rich investor community. That's another good question. So I think the problem is the challenges change in perception at each stage you go through. Once you've solved one, like when you're first getting out, maybe the hardest challenge you're facing is, let's say, raising money, and you focus on that, and you think it's possible you can't find the people to do it, and then you do, and then that sort of fades somewhat in hardness in your mind, and the problem is, how do you get those first all-important customers in, and that one comes to the forefront. The next one is, how do you scale the company? So, there's challenges all the time. Scaling the company. There's just new challenges coming all the time, and you've just got to figure out how to solve them. Idea Space is this sort of awesome combination of a range of different people's experiences. So you've got a range of investors floating through here and advisory boards that help give you advice. And you've got a mixture of different companies sort of everything from one-man shops to starting up through to sort of smaller companies who have established themselves to some degree. So quite a diverse range, and we all sort of feed off each other and help each other out.
So it's certainly be a bit more beneficial than maybe having a separate office.
Yeah, it's a lot more than an office space.
Yeah.
Sort of Stu, who runs Idea Space, that's one of his goals. He doesn't just want to make it, there's some desks, there's some chairs, off you go. He's aware there's a lot more that's needed as a startup. Yeah, I think there's a lot of cross-collaboration that goes on. You've got obviously one of the world's best academic establishments on your doorstep.
Yeah.
You've got some amazing sort of top-tier companies here. Armand's one I already mentioned. Numerous others that are based in this part. You've got some of the games industry guys that are based here.
Sure.
So you've a whole melting pot of interesting people around, and most of these people come together in numerous ways for numerous networking events. Somebody told me once a good one. They said, learn why you should be starting up that startup idea, or learn why you shouldn't, which is often equally as valid, and why you shouldn't be taking that venture forward. Either two of those outcomes are good when you're going through the initial phases, but you've got to learn to either start things up or not start things up for the right reasons. Be careful not to start things up for the wrong reasons, because you'll get a certain distance and then you'll find out that there's some fundamental flaws with what's going on. Most people, you read the sort of blurb when people ask that question and they go, I don't know, I made lemonade back when I was 3 years old or something insane. I don't subscribe to any of that. It was a opportunity here, and it seemed to be a good fit for what we wanted to do. And because there was a cutting edge of the technology field, that means that jobs don't often exist for that technology to be deployed in industry. So you sort of have to take it upon yourself to take that technology forward into industry.
Okay.
Hiring's always a fun endeavour for any company, especially startup. Where if you get that decision wrong, the impact that one person can have proportional to the size of the company is dramatic compared to a large company. Whereas if you get it slightly wrong, it's not going to have a huge effect on the company. So recruiting is something we always take very seriously, and we spend quite a long time interviewing people, make sure they're right for the company. In fact, we've got a job out at the moment, so if anybody wants to come be a senior engineer with us, if they go to audanalytic.com and have a look at the job description, if they fit, send us an application.
Fantastic. And so how big is your team now?
So there's 5 people in the team.
Okay.
So it's still a relatively small company.